Hey, what's up you guys? It's Simon Hurley and I'm here today showing some Valentine's Day paper airplanes inspired by the movie We Can Be Heroes on Netflix. Now I'm not Guppy and I can't make a paper airplane out of water, but these two paper airplanes inspired by the different sharks in the movie and Missy Moreno and her fun punk rock style are super cool. Let's go over the different supplies you're going to need in today's project. You're going to need different types of thin weight paper. I'm using some different metallic cardstocks for the shark and then black for Missy Moreno's Valentine, but you could use whatever colors you have at home. You're also going to need some sort of adhesive tape. Here I'm using double-sided tape, some scissors, and also an X-Acto knife to do some of the cutting, and make sure you have parents' permission as those can be sharp. You're also going to need a stencil. Here I'm using a star design and you can find these in the craft store. Some metallic paint and metallic markers. You can use gold or silver. I've used both and they look great. To apply your paint, you're going to need some sponges or sponge brushes to put it through the stencil. And then last but not least, this is optional. I like kind of a creasing tool to make sure my folds are nice and sharp, but you could use, of course, a pencil or the edge of anything to really get a nice crease. Alright, now let's get into it. So I want to make the large silvery shark that's at the end of the movie. I'm using this kind of silvery metallic paper, but again, you could use any color cardstock you want. And this is 8.5 by 11 inches. I'm going to start off by folding this right in half. Make sure it's nice and lined up, and then I'm going to give it a good crease. And this is where a creasing tool can come in handy, especially when we get layers going. This is just going to make sure it's nice and strong. So then I'm going to open it up and we're going to fold it into the center. So I'm going to take one of the corners and start folding it down and meet it right in the center line there. And then again, I can go in and just crease it down. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Once that step is complete, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Bring this corner in again, right to the center. You're going to want to leave a little bit of room. Don't go directly to the center because we still need to fold it in on itself. And again, crease it down. This is where this tool kind of starts to help, because when you get to a lot of folds, you want to be able to smooth them down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Once that's all complete, we can fold it in half again. Now to do my wing fold, I'm going to just pick it up here and kind of meet it right at the end here. And then once this is kind of touching that edge, I'm going to crease it down. Now you can make your wings however you'd like, but I'm leaving a little bit of room up here to not fold it all the way down because I'm going to be drawing a face on it. So I'm going to just crease this down and make sure it's nice and smooth. Then we'll flip the plane and do the exact same thing on the other side. And I just make sure that the wings are kind of lined up with this edge, and then you're gonna have them both be perfectly even. And again, just crease that down. Now we have our wings folded, but we want to make this look a little bit more like a shark. So starting off with this part, I like to cut this off a little bit. So I'm going to go in with my scissors here and just kind of cut off the nose and make it a little bit more rounded like this. And then I'm also going to take the back end of the plane and just cut a little bit of it off. So we'll go probably from here, cut at the exact same angle as this, and just cut a bit of that plane off. I just don't want it to be the full area. I want to kind of design this area, but of course, if you want to keep it nice and long, you could leave this part on. Now designing the face of the shark is one of my favorite parts. I'm going to take this and open it up here, and this is going to allow me to see a little bit clearer and help design this. I'm going to go in here, probably starting from here, and we're going to start the mouth. I'm going to just go in and draw kind of like a smiley face here, and then I'll repeat the exact same step on the other side. And this is why I opened it up, because it's a lot easier to see what's going on and to mirror the image. Then I'll go in here and draw the shark mouth and the exact same thing. So it's gonna look a little bit like a mustache right now. And then I can go in and add the teeth in. I'm just gonna do like 3 sharp teeth there, and we'll do the exact same thing on the other side. Our goal here is just to create kind of a mirrored image. And I'll draw in the bottom teeth. There we go, and then we can add in the eye. So I'm going to add an eye right there, and then kind of try to mirror the image across the exact same way, and we'll add a little nose hole there too. Finally, we're gonna go in and add some gills, and do the exact same thing on the other side. Then we can go in with our permanent marker, and this is kind of like a fine line permanent marker, which I really like. I'm just going to go in and trace over everything and make sure it's all nice and done. I just wanted to go in with a pencil first to make sure that I got the lines perfect. Just kind of outline everything that you've already done, and this is just going to make it nice and permanent. Once we're done with that, we can fold it back up, and then we have a really nice even looking shark face on both sides of our plane. Now we need to make the fins for our shark. So I'm gonna go in with a scrap piece of that same metallic cardstock, and I'm gonna go in here just with my pencil and kind of freehand fin for the shark. So we'll go in here. You can make it as big or as small as you want. This is gonna go on the top of the shark and also be its fins on the side. Once I've got this all drawn out, I'm gonna go in and cut it out. Once we have this one fin done, it's really easy to just place it against the flat edge of our cardstock and trace it to create 2 more even fins. And then I'm going to cut those out as well. 2 of these fins are gonna go on the side underneath this kind of wing here. So we want to cut a little bit off. I'm going to take 2 of the fins with the kind of flipper side up like this, and I'm going to just go in, line them up, and make a cut right there so that they can sit on the inside of that wing. For this step, I placed a cutting mat down so I don't ruin my surface. If I was just making a regular shark paper airplane, I could adhere everything together and finish it off. But we want to make this a Valentine because I want to send it to my friend. So I'm going to grab the fin here and kind of line it up where I would usually put it on my shark. Now I'm going to create a little line kind of underneath the fin, right about here, about that big, and we just want to go in with our X-Acto knife. Again, make sure to go in with a parent's permission and be safe about this, and just go in and cut along that line. This is going to create an indent for our Valentine or our note to slide in and out. So I'm just going to cut right there, make sure that's nice, and it'll go through that layer so we can slide a note right inside. For my note that I'm going to slide in here, I've cut a piece of cardstock that will fit right into there, and I'm going to take this and fold it a little bit so that it creates a lock. So this is going to keep it from pulling out all the way from our shark. So make sure you have a little piece folded down here, and then we can write our note. With our permanent marker, I'm going to start a little bit away from that area so that it doesn't get covered up by the fin, and I'm going to just write "You're fantastic." You can of course write whatever you want, but I like that little shark pun. And then at the end of this, I'm just going to write "pull" because this is going to be underneath the fin, and we want to tell our recipient to be able to pull the note out. Then I'll go in and just cut the rest of that off. So then to put our note through, I'm just going to make sure both of these pieces are put together, and we will slide our note through there. On the other side, you can see that this piece that we folded down is going to help lock it in place and make sure that it doesn't come all the way out. Now let's put everything together. I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape, but of course you could use a liquid glue or a tape if you would like as well. I'm just going to go in here and place a little bit on the inside of the fin, and then just remove the backing tape. I'll do the same thing on the other side, adding a little bit of adhesive, and then place the fin down right over top of that opening. That's going to kind of cover that up, but leave the little pull tab nice and open. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the top fin, add a little bit of adhesive down there, then peel off the backer, and then I can line things up. And here I want it to be just in front a little bit, so I'll adhere that down. And last but not least, we're going to adhere the whole plane together. So I'm going to take a longer strip of that adhesive, line the top here. You want to make sure when you add adhesive, you avoid adding any to this front area or down here where this is going to kind of slide in and out. Make sure everything is nicely folded and intact, and then we will close the paper airplane. Once it's all sealed up, here you have the finished paper airplane, and it kind of seals that note in there really nicely, so when you close it up, you're not able to get to it, but it stays in there really nice. Let's move on to the heart-shaped Valentine paper airplane inspired by Missy Moreno and our kind of punk rock style. So we're going to take a different approach to it, but of course you could use whatever color scheme you want. I'm starting off here with a black piece of construction paper. This is 8.5 by 11 inches, and again I'm going to start it the exact same way by folding it in half the long way and crease it down. Then I can open it up, and again you're going to fold both sides into the center to create a nice point at the end. Once these are folded in, we can fold it down like this over on top of itself, and then we'll go in and do the exact same steps, but fold it into this triangle shape. So here, I'll fold this corner into the center and do the exact same thing on the other side. Once those are folded down, we're going to open it up, and I want to adhere these together before we continue. I'm just going to take my double-sided tape once again and adhere them onto these corners. We want to glue down these triangles to make sure everything stays nicely folded together before we continue. Then I'll do the exact same thing to the other side. Once these are nicely glued together, we can then fold this airplane in half so you have those adhered triangles on the underside of the plane. Now that our plane looks like this, we're going to fold down our wings, and I'm going to take one side and meet the opposite edge here and crease that down so that it goes right into the center. And again, you can bring out your crease tool if you want them to be nice and strong. Then I'll do the exact same thing on the other side and meet it up with the bottom edge. Now that our wings are folded, they are a little bit pointy, but we want to turn this into a heart. So I'm going to open this up again to one side and bring in our pencil, because we're going to kind of sketch in a heart shape here. So just going in and drawing a heart shape, and then when it gets to this area, you want to kind of go down, dip down a little bit, and go all the way to this bottom edge. Everyone is going to look a little bit different, and that's totally fine. Once I'm done outlining it, I can go in and start cutting it out. I'm going to kind of cut it, make sure that there aren't any pointed edges, and keep the plane nice and together to make sure that both sides stay nice and even. And then again, I'll dip down here and cut that off. So there we have a nice rounded heart shape on top, and then when you open it up, it creates a full heart, which I think is awesome. This next part is going to get a little bit messy, so I have a craft sheet that I'm going to lay down onto my surface to protect it, but you can use a garbage bag or scrap pieces of paper. You just want to protect your surface. Now I'm just going to take a little pieces of paper, but you could use a palette as well, and I'm just going to put a little bit of our paint out here. You don't need a ton to cover the whole surface. A little bit goes a long way with that, and we're going to be stenciling just the kind of wings. We want the inside to stay nice and blank so we can write a message on there. I'm going to use this star pattern, kind of inspired by Missy Moreno's outfit. You could of course go in with skulls to make it kind of a punk rock Valentine's theme. It's really up to you, but there's a bunch of different stencils you can choose from at your craft store. I'm going to lay this down on my surface, grab my little sponge brush to kind of daub onto the surface. And here's the key. You want to make sure to apply some paint onto your brush, but then kind of dab off a little bit. If it's too much paint, you're going to have it seep underneath the edge of your stencil. So you want just enough on here, and then you can go in and start pouncing through the stencil to get your desired effect. Now that the outside part of our plane is stenciled, we're going to add our Valentine's Day note on the inside. I can open this up and we can start our writing. Here I'm using a metallic marker in silver to match the color paint that I used. And I'm just going to go in here and do an outline of everything that I've already done. And I love doing the pencil line first. It makes it really easily to center things and make sure that I like what I wrote before I go in and make it permanent. Perfect. I love how easy this was, and I love that when you open it up, you reveal the message and it turns into a full heart. Alright guys, that finishes the 2 paper airplanes inspired by We Can Be Heroes, now streaming on Netflix. I hope you guys enjoyed it and will give it a try at home. Bye!